All right, Algebra 1. I just wanted to take some time going over a couple of problems here. I know this is confusing and it's a tough topic, so I wanted to go over a problem from the 2-4A Part 2 worksheet, one problem from the 2-4A practice number 1 that is your work for today, due tomorrow, due the 11th, and then one problem from the practice 2-4A practice number 2 that will be assigned tomorrow on November 11th and then due on the 12th. Okay, so I just wanted to spend some time going through this stuff here real quick, just to hopefully it'll help you guys just to see a few more examples. You watched that other video. Hopefully you've watched that other video and kind of worked on some stuff. Let it sit for a day, and hopefully this will clear up some of the problems that you're having. But remember, if you have not been doing the factoring stuff from 2.2 and 2.3, then this is going to be a very challenging topic for you, because this is all based on that factoring stuff. So if you cannot do the factoring and you didn't watch those factoring videos, that may be a good place for you to start. But anyway, so like I like to do is, that's why I made this little box here. I like to cover up part of the problem and then see what I'm left with. So if I just look at y squared plus 8y minus 9, this is something that we did with our tables. So I looked for two numbers that multiply to give me -9 and add to give me 8. So 9 has two sets of factors, 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. Now, if I'm trying to multiply to get me a -9, that means that these numbers have to be opposite signs, so one positive and one negative. So I could either have -9 times 1 or -1 times 9, right? Both of those will multiply to give me -9. But what happens when we add them together? Well, -9 plus 1 gives me a -8. So that's close to what I was looking for, but I was looking for a +8, so this is not the answer. The next one, -1 plus 9, that gives me the +8. Okay, if we looked at -3 and 3, it doesn't really matter which one gets the negative because they're the same. You don't have to do this, but if we added those together, that would give us 0. So that's not our answer either. But like I said before, once you get the answer, you don't need to continue any further. We know that's our answer. So we're going to come back into our fraction now. I'm going to rewrite this down here. Well, I'll write it up here. So we have -1 and 9. So that means this factors to y minus 1 and y plus 9. Okay? That's the whole numerator. That's the top. Then I'm going to look at the denominator. Now, y squared minus 81. This is a difference of two squares. Okay, it's difference, it's being subtracted. There's two terms and they're both perfect squares. So I don't need to make up a table for this. I can just jump right into my factoring. So let me, if I can get this, let me fix that. So two sets of parentheses. And then we want to know what times itself gives you y squared. That's y times y. What times itself gives you 81? That's 9 times 9. One is a positive, one's a plus, and one is a negative. So this is what it looks like completely factored, okay? So this fraction right here is equal to this fraction, okay? They are the same thing, they're just written differently. And now we want to simplify. So we simplify where things are being multiplied. So this is multiplying right here. This is multiplying right here. That means either y plus 1 will cancel or y plus 9 will cancel, the entire thing. And if we look at this, what happens, or what do we have on both the top and bottom? Exactly the same. That is a y plus 9. So that entire thing cancels out. Okay, so y plus 9 cancels. Now I'm left with y minus 1 over y minus 9. Now, this is your final answer. And you can see here with this answer, h, 1 over 9, this is the one where they wanted to, so let me just, right here's your final answer. So what they did was they wanted to see if you would fall into that trap of saying, now this is incorrect, okay, incorrect. Let me write that here. This is wrong. What I'm about to do is wrong. Okay, I just want to point this out to you that this is a common mistake I see, but this is wrong. Is that students will say, well, they also have a y in common. Can't I just cancel those out and just say, well, my final answer is -1 over -9, and then, you know, if, you know, a negative over a negative is a positive, so shouldn't it be 1/9? Like, isn't that my answer? Well, let's say if we plug a number into this equation, like 4 or 2 or 1 or anything other than 0, this should give us 1/9, regardless of what we plug in. Now, if you plug in 0, you will get 1/9, but it has to work for everything. So if we plug in 1, we would have 1 plus 8 minus 9 over 1 minus 81. So that would give us 0 over -80, which is 0. And you can see that that is not equal to 1/9. But if we plug 1 in up here, we would end up with 1 minus 1 over 1 minus 9, which does give us 0. So you can see the difference there, that whatever we plug into this, y minus 1 over y minus 9, would be the same thing as what we get when we plug it into the original. So anyway, I'm just pointing that out to show you that this cannot be canceled. Remember, it has to cancel over multiplication, not over addition or subtraction, which is what we just did right here. This would be simplifying over a subtraction. So I just want to point that out to you. So that was just some extra added commentary there at the bottom. The top is how we actually do the problem. Now, next one. So this is number 3 from your 2-4A practice number 1 worksheet, and I will do this the exact same way, okay? Actually, let me back up here and let me see if I can find that rectangle that I made. It's in here somewhere. Maybe I won't bother. Maybe I'll just make another one. Oh, is that it? Yeah, that's it. Sorry. Should have had these done beforehand and I forgot. Okay, so I'm going to cover up the denominator and ignore that and just factor my numerator. Okay, so we're going to go back to the table. I need two numbers that multiply to give me 20 and add to give me 9. Now guys, there are a lot of different types of factoring. You have your factoring at GCF, you have factoring difference of two squares, factoring the trinomials where we did the tables. You know, there's a couple different ways that we did factoring here, so that's why I kept stressing the importance of, like, you have to make sure you keep up with that factoring stuff. So those of you that did are probably not having too much trouble with this, but the people that did not do the factoring stuff, I mean, that's going to be your reason why you're struggling. And I would suggest you go back through the 2.2 and 2.3 videos and just rewatch them, or maybe watch them for the first time, and you know, that may help you to figure out why you're not sure what's happening here. So we need to find some numbers that will multiply to give us 20. So we have a couple. There's 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. Those are the three sets of factors that will multiply and give us 20. Now, because this multiplies to give us a positive number, that means that your factors have to be the same. So either both positive or both negative. How do we know whether they're both positive or both negative? We look at our middle sign. Since that is positive, that tells us that all of our factors have to be positive. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's something that I've been saying, but again, just want to reiterate that a little bit. So add them together now. 1 plus 20 gives us 21. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a 9, so that one's out. Next, 2 plus 10. Well, we're getting closer. That's 12, but it's still not 9, so that one is out. And then the last one, 4 plus 5. There we go. There's our 9. That's what we were looking for, okay? So that is our two factors there, 4 and 5. So let's rewrite them up here now. So this is equal to x plus 4, and x plus 5. Okay, the x's come from, we had to get x squared, that comes from x times x, and then 4 times 5 gives us 20, and then from our distributive property we would end up with the 9x in the middle. Alright, let me slide this up here. Let's look at the denominator. Well, how are we going to factor this? Well, it doesn't have 3 terms, so we don't use a table. Remember, 3 terms table, 3 terms table. We don't have 3 terms here, we only have 2. So our factoring options for 2 terms, the only option we have is either a GCF or difference of 2 squares. And hopefully you can see here that, this is not a difference, this is a sum. So we can't use difference of 2 squares here. So the only thing we can do here is a GCF. Okay, so what is the biggest number we can take out of 5 and 20? Well, we could take a 5 out. Can we take an x out? Yeah, they both have an x, so we can factor out an x. All right, let's see what we're left with. Now, keep in mind that we should be left with an x plus 4 or an x plus 5. So we have to be left with one of these two if this actually does simplify, okay? So just keep that in mind. So if I take a 5 out, there's a 1 left, so I don't need to write the 1. Remember, the only time you write a 1 is if it's the only thing left. Then I started with an x squared, which was 2 copies of x, and I took one of them out, so I'm left with an x. Okay, so you can have a 1 in front here if you want, but you don't need it. Plus 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. I started with an x, but I took that out, so I am finished. Now, we're going to cancel out over the multiplication. So this is multiplied, and this is multiplied. What do they both have in common? Exactly the same. X plus 4. So cross them out. I'm left with up top x plus 5. And on the denominator, 5x. Now, yes, there is multiplication happening right here. But this is not being multiplied, so those 5's can't cancel, those x's can't cancel. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Whatever you're canceling has to be multiplied everywhere. It can't just be, well, the 5's being multiplied here, can I cancel that with that? No, because this 5 is not being multiplied. Okay, so this is your final answer right here. We're done with that problem. Okay, so there's one problem done for you for your practice worksheet from today. Your practice worksheet for tomorrow on the 11th, Wednesday, looks like this. All right, now, up top, what I'm going to start with, okay, we don't want to just say, well, there's 32s, get rid of them. No, we can't do that, okay, because the same reason I just said, these are not being multiplied, they're being added and subtracted. So we need to factor. So up top, first of all, we have a GCF. So let's start with a GCF. Okay, if you started with a table and you said, well, I need to find some numbers that'll multiply to give me 32 and add to give me 36, you're not going to find any. So that's one indication that you have to start with a GCF. Okay, so what is left? 4x squared, I took out a 4. I'm left with x squared. Plus 36 divided by 4. What's 36 divided by 4? 9. X plus, last one, 32 divided by 4. 8. Good. All right, now on the denominator, this does not have a GCF, so I'm just going to recopy that right here and finish that up in the next step here. So up top, again, this is 3 terms, so we need to find 2 numbers that will multiply to give us 8 and add to give us 9. So 8 is 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. Again, since the 8 was positive, our signs had to match. 9 was positive, so they're both positive. So let's add them together. 1 plus 8 is 9. We got it on our first try there. That's good. We don't have to try this one because we already got it. So let's rewrite the top now. 4, we have 1 and an 8. So x plus 1 and x, I don't like that x. X plus 8. All over. Now, the denominator. So let's see what we have on the bottom here. So we need to find, let me use a different color so my tables don't run together. We need to find two numbers that multiply to give us negative 32 and add to give us 4. So because our last number is negative, that means our signs have to be opposite. So one positive and one negative. Okay, so if we look at like negative 1 times 32, well, if we add those together, we're not going to get anywhere near 4. We're going to get 31. So that one's out. Now, if you get the same number, like let's say I got a negative 4 here, all we would have to do then is just change our signs. So like if we do negative 2 times 16, that gives us negative 32. Negative 2 plus 16 gives us 14 though, so kind of close. We got a 4, we just got a 14. So next, let's say if we have negative 8 times 4. Well, negative 8 plus 4, I did it this way on purpose because I wanted to show you this, is a negative 4. So we got, you see we got the same number. They're both a 4, but we're looking for a positive. We ended up with a negative. So all we got to do is flip our signs. So we're going to make it negative 4 times 8. Negative 4 plus 8 gives us our positive 4. Okay, so I should have been crossing these out. That didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. I was close, but negative sign. So this is our correct answer. So let's factor that now. Write it in our answer up here. So x, we had a negative 4, and then we had an x and a plus 8. Put in our dots where the multiplication is happening. There, there, and there. So what do they both have in common? That is exactly the same. Exactly the same. X plus 8. Cancel them out. I'm left with 4 times x plus 1. All this over x minus 4. Okay? So that is your final answer for this one. And again, like I said, I just wanted to go over a few problems with you. Make sure that you understand what's happening here, because I know some people had a lot of questions about this, which rightfully so. This is a tough question, or a tough section. So yeah, and this is the last thing that we're doing before the test. You'll have practice worksheets today on Tuesday the 10th and tomorrow the 11th. Thursday and Friday I'll be sending out the Unit 2 review test. We'll go over that whole Unit 2 review test on Monday. I'll send out a video for that, and your test will be Tuesday. So again, I'm not going to be in the rest of this week or Monday. So if you have questions, you have to make sure you're letting me know so that I can help you out remotely. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday, but I won't see you before then. So you need to make sure that if you have questions, you're asking. And like I said, I'll make videos and send them out to you. Okay, so let me know if you have questions.